Good morning. It's, what is it, 9:03, May 10th, Saturday, Eastern Daylight Time. A lot of information packed in that good morning. Um, I guess April, I kind of failed on doing any uploads. I had some ideas of things I was going to do and had them written down. And I think the only thing I posted was that I had made this, and I don't know that I posted anymore after that. But um, I April was difficult. Not every single day of April by any means. I don't want that. April April was the third anniversary of my Billy going to heaven, and also one day in April while I was at work, I wasn't on the clock yet. I get to work half hour to 40 minutes early every day, and you might ask why. Traffic's very interesting where I live, so it's just easier for me just to leave at the same time every day. And even doing that, there are times then where I'm taking 20-30 minutes longer than normal to get to work. That's leaving at the same time every day. So I would rather have just room to be there on time, not have the Moxie. Sorry, she's trying to snitch something from. I meant Roxy. Rox, leave it. Ooh, you're a good girl, Moxie. Leave it. They both have little chew toys, but Roxy, who's still got lots of puppy in her, she wants her big. She wants her big sisters. Rox, Roxy, put it down. Rox, leave it. Leave it. Give that back to your sister. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Yeah. Just like kids, you know. Mama's going to do a video. She hasn't done any in a month of Sundays. So let's go disturb her. So when you hear chomping, that's why. So, April, that's the third year anniversary of my Billy going to heaven. And I still can't even believe that at times. I mean, there are times I cannot believe it's been 3 years. It's been. Okay, she just made way with. Come here, you. She just made way with Moxie's. Sorry, girl. Uh, they're chewing on the exact same thing, they're just different colors. It's kids. Well, you know, Billy passed away April 24th, and that was 3 years ago. It was a Sunday, and on 4 days later was his service, and that was his birthday. And I'll be honest, when I was at the funeral home, that what I didn't even think about that. Like, I didn't even think about it. We're just going over stuff, and then he says, "Oh, okay, so his celebration of life will be on his birthday," and I was gobsmacked. I just like, wow. I started crying. I and so you know they see that stuff all the time. Not on the birthday part so much, but someone just all of a sudden losing it because I I hadn't I hadn't planned it like that. I was just gonna try to give family members time to come in, and so that's how that happened. But the first week of September, we we me I was at work, got a phone call, and it was before my actual shift hours, but I was still hanging out. My grandson was there that day, and so I got to see him. But I got a text, and I called the person back, and anyway, she told me she just didn't wake up. A friend of ours had gone to sleep and she just didn't wake up. And that's, you never know, folks. You just don't know. You don't know when Jesus is going to call you home. And then I was not able to make it to that service. I just couldn't, the time frame and everything, I just couldn't make it work out. And then I had another friend who was sick, and I'm not going to give names or details because it's their stories, but I will say that they were good friends and knew both these people for a couple of decades. And the second friend was sick, very recent illness, and they passed the day after my Billy. And so I guess, it's, I don't like to use the word trigger, but it definitely caused some things to come to memory, and but also because this was a very dear friend that while Billy was sick, they were a constant. He texted Billy, quite often, stayed up on top, and it just was good friends, like family. They felt like family. And then their service was the day after Billy's service. So when I was driving up, it took me 7 hours to get there. I had worked that morning. I didn't get in until 8 o'clock at night. And then my dear friend lets me bring my dogs. Sweet neighbor comes in and checks in on Calvin a couple times a day. And so my dogs are just like, load up, get in the car. One's, she's in her crate in the back, and then the other one, you have the little tether thingy for safety. But she was doing a little bit of salivating, so she ended up 2:30 in the morning just throwing up on the bed. Fortunately, I have these mats and the rubber on the bottom. My dear friend is so sweet to let me bring my dogs, and I'm conscientious too. I always take a blanket to put over the bed blanket, and then I take this dog mat that has the rubber bottoms, and so that caught most of it. But it woke me up, like, that noise that'll get you out of bed quicker than an alarm. But I was mentally discombobulated because I'm like, I forgot where I was. I was like, where am I? And I can't figure out where the light switch is. Like, I'm hitting a wall, like literally hitting a wall, because I'm just not recollecting where I am. It took me a second because that woke me up out of a dead sleep because I fell hard to sleep that night. And once I got that figured out, she got a little bit of vomit on the coverlet, which fortunately was able to just throw it in the wash in the morning. And but then the service was that day, so here, and I didn't fall back asleep till around 4:30 or so in the morning. Excuse me. And I was doing okay. I was doing okay. And then the slideshow, the baby pictures, the family pictures, the sibling, and then there was some of the pictures had Big Bill, my Billy, in them, and then there was one that it had the four of us, and Willie Booger was one of his nicknames. He was in a wheelchair, and I'm almost positive it was my birthday, and we was at the hospital, and they came up. My kids had thrown a wonderful little surprise party. Billy, had got them to do A, B, and C. And I tell you what, to date, it was probably one of my best birthdays ever. It was my 59th birthday. And it was in the hospital cafeteria, but that's a whole nother story. Maybe I'll tell you on my next birthday about it. But from looking at it, I'm almost certain it was, my birthday, and they had come, and so we had a picture, Billy and I, and he was in his wheelchair, and then they were, next to us, and I don't have I didn't have a copy of that picture. I even went through my cloud, so it was probably taken on their phone, and that hit me. That hit me some kind of way when I saw that, and I thought about when my friends, both of them, when they passed, just the reception they had at heaven, when they went through heaven's gates, and there you are with Jesus face to face. It's not this it's not a painted Jesus. It's Jesus. Like, we don't really know what he looks like, and we have some cues from the Bible. He's dark skinned, and so anyway, we me, and I think about the reception, and even think about what my reception will be like. First of all, you're going to see Jesus face to face, the King of Kings, the great reward, and just that perfect healing, and that right there can calm the sea in me. That riptide. Sometimes I feel like I'm swimming in a riptide sometimes, and now I don't stay there, but how riptides work. You can't just swim straight to shore in a riptide. You have to swim parallel until you're going parallel until you get up to the shore, and then safely get on shore. And so sometimes I can have days that hit like I'm swimming in a riptide the wrong way, and then I have to regulate myself. But I don't know if you can hear her whining. No, the other one got her little chew toy back. So I guess she's telling. You took it first, Rox. She came in. I'm telling you, she came into my life like a wrecking ball. Moxie. Now Moxie, she can be jumpy at the door, but she settles. And they both settle. But anyway, back to where I was. April was. I was navigating quite a few riptides, and so when I went up for this service, and like I said, it was 14 hours round trip, and it was a quick trip. I was 8 o'clock at night, the night before the service, stayed for the service, and left the next morning, maybe at 9. And I did have to stop. Just it's always that just 2 hours from home. I stopped at a Buc-ee's, and you either love Buc-ee's or you don't. And I love it. I like that I can park and run into the bathroom. I've never had to wait because there's 5 million stalls, and they're always clean. There's an attendant in there keeping it clean. And then just the grab and go. Whoa! Whoa! the grab and go selection of food is appealing to me, and it's safe for me. It's safe, and then the dog walking area. So, got the girls out, walked them for about 15 minutes. And, and this is why it takes me an extra hour longer than if I were to just travel on my own. Because when I would come up and down here when Billy was still alive, and I'd come sometimes just on my own, I could get here in 6 hours. Those days are gone. I have the dogs, and there's 2 spots I like to stop off for them. And when I get to Buc-ee's, you know, we like to walk for about 15 minutes. And they finally put a fence up near the busy road, which makes you feel safer. It's not enclosed, which is okay. I'm walking them on their leash, and the walk feels good for me too. Just that getting up and moving. And so I went in, used the restroom, get them some water, like I said, and I just leave the car running. I only have one key, but it's the kind it won't lock if the key is in the car, so I have to have it with me. It'll stay running for 15 minutes with the AC on, so it doesn't take me that long. I'm not grabbing a buggy. I'm not shopping at Buc-ee's. I'm going to the restroom, getting in, getting out. That's what I'm doing. So for that reason, I like it. And you know, I can grab a sandwich. They're making everything fresh right there. There's my plug for Buc-ee's. I find it safe for solo travelers that are female in nature, and even guys. You know, for me it's safe. Not to say that someone can't nab me from the parking lot, but anyway, there's that. That's why I like to stop there. Like I said, I'm not shopping all over the place. I'm conducting business when I'm there. But so I got home, and I actually take a little cutoff that shows that it's supposed to be 15 minutes longer. I live in a very tourist attraction area, and it's year round. It's definitely busier right now, but it's year round because the weather's fairly decent. This past winter was the coldest winter in 7 years, I think, something like that. So anyway, okay, I'm going to see if she's got to use the restroom. She has had me up and down at least 3 times. Hold on. All right. Anyway, April just didn't go how I had planned for posting videos. I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm not going to say it was a tough month. It had some tough moments for me. And I do choose joy. I can still have a meltdown. That doesn't mean the joy of the Lord isn't what's indwelling in me. And so I'd actually had a camping trip planned. It would have been like the day after I got back. And when I plan on going somewhere, I like to look on the map different times to see traffic patterns for travel and whatnot. So it was going to be another 7-hour trip. And then, you know, so 14 round trip. I didn't have it in me. I did not have it in me. There was just no way. And I wasn't going to put my dog through it either, who she had struggled. And I do, hold on again. Sorry about that. Kids, dogs, can't live with them, can't live without them. I couldn't live without them. I love them too much. My morning caffeine, unsweetened tea. You either like it or you don't. I loves it. Anyway, I didn't go on my camping trip, and I was really looking forward to it. But, you know, your body will tell you, and my body was telling me, girl, you can't do it. And last Saturday, I didn't even, did I go anywhere Saturday? I don't even think I Went to the farmer's market. I didn't do anything. So I just didn't. And that's okay, because I did laundry, you know, put my clothes away. I just did chill stuff around the house, took a nice nap. And then it was just, you know, I had to decompress from that trip. But now it's May, and so maybe the things that I had planned to do for YouTube in April, I'll do in May. But I did get, you know, this made, and it's, I can't find my labels. I don't know why. This is one of my, I guess you can see it. I made that. Well, I designed it, and somebody on Etsy, I use her. I know a lot of people will use like Alibaba. You know, she's a small business. The lady who makes these, she does well. When you see it, all her sales are, how many sales she's made. But I'm glad that she's, you know, has a successful small business. I think she's out of Texas. Don't quote me on that. I can't even remember the name right now. But I have some square ones too. Those are the ones I can't find. And like I said, I either want to put it up by the zipper here. I've seen some where it takes up the whole side. I don't want to do that. And or I might make my own, because I have some cotton ribbing, like I said. Then I can print it off, transfer it on, and then sew it on there. We'll see. This is my prototype for this size. I struggled with the pattern again and watched the YouTube video, and I had told them it's very jumpy, and like literally, like, anyway, it was jumpy, and so I ended up just coming up with my own method of doing this, and so that's what I'm going to do, is my own method. And but I thought that was a good size. This was the one I did last month, and it's, you know, it's smaller. Not that it can't serve a purpose, but I don't know if you can see the difference here. There's a difference, but isn't that cute fabric? Lighting's not the best, but isn't that cute, little daisies? And this one has a seam at the bottom. This one does not. But they're both clean on the inside. And when I say clean on the inside, there's no raw edges. I've seen some of these where it's raw edges. This is not raw edges. And and neither was my April make. It's not a raw edge either. And I just have a lot of fabric that I want to do something with it. And so if I end up doing the farmer's market, it probably wouldn't be till the end of summer, even though these are more summery colors, because I don't, and this is my work table, and I don't want to put a lot of pressure on myself, so I'm not going to. But anyway, April hit a lot of keynotes in my heart and had some sweet moments of reminiscing. And of course, my Google Cloud will remind me of a lot of those moments, because, you know, it'll your memory for this, and so it'd bring up memories from, you know, some of Billy's birthdays over the last handful of years. And even on Facebook, I shared a reel that was of him, and we were at the local Mexican restaurant up in Virginia that we used to go to, and, you know, they put the sombrero, on his head, and singing happy birthday and the grin on his face. Like, you know someone's going to do that to you when you go to a Mexican restaurant, particularly to this one. And, but you're telling them you better not have. Well, yeah, we didn't, But you kind of sitting there in the hot seat knowing, oh no, when they start coming over to you and they're singing, you kind of know they're going to do that to you. And so just the grin on Billy's face, and he looked good. I don't even remember which birthday that was, but he celebrated another birthday in heaven in April, and had 2 more friends come into heaven. The second friend that went into heaven the day after Billy, first of all, like I said, you're there with Jesus, and I don't know. The Bible does say, I don't have this scripture right offhand, that we will know each other, and so your mind kind of goes there of, is he like, hey, welcome, I hope no one says, what are you doing here to me, it's like, I hope that's not a thought with anybody. So he had a good reception, just Jesus alone. If nobody else met with you as you went through the pearly gates, you're gonna be the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And so that is our great reward, going to heaven, being with Jesus and seeing him and praising him in person. And I look forward to that. I'm not going to rush it or anything, and so that's going to be my reward one day as well. And anybody who accept Jesus into their hearts as their Lord and Savior, we have something to look forward to. But that's it for now. Just kind of a chitty chatty catch up and mustard. And so I'm still grinding out these little things. Like I said, I think I am going to do a farmer's market or 2. I'm still mesmerized by the fact that I have to get a retail business license. I have to get insurance for a booth, and it seems like overkill, but it is what it is. If I do that, I don't know. Maybe I'll have a lot of Christmas gifts made. Who knows? Because I'm not going to put pressure on myself to do that either. But I do want to go through my fabric stash and get something done with some of this fabric. And, just doing something new. It's good for the brain to try something new, to try to figure something out, because I did have to just wing it towards the end of this. And so I did. And so I used to make a lot of these. Now this has been in a puppy's mouth. Can you tell? This dishcloth, that's all I can do for crochet. Anything after that, it's wonky. More on that later, maybe. Okay, well, it's starting to rain here. I'm gonna get some of this stuff put away. I've got my grands coming over. I guess they'll be here in about an hour and a half, maybe. And we're going to have a sleepover at Yaya's. And I am looking forward to that. And we'll go to church together in the morning. They'll go to kids' church. And then I'll drive there. They live, depends on the traffic, can be between 35 minutes or an hour and a half away, depending on what the traffic is. So I'll take them home tomorrow. But I'm looking forward to that. So I will get this out of the way. Like I've said before, my place isn't very big, and this will be in the way. I might even just scooch it into the kitchen so that I don't have to take all that away, because we don't play in the kitchen. But this gives them more floor room. But God bless to y'all. Thank you for watching, and I'll do better in May to post more content. Bye-bye.